This episode is sponsored by Skillshare. It's nearly impossible for me to express just how important the character of Mulan is to me and every single Chinese person. The Ballad of Mulan is taught in elementary school. It's one of my favorite poems from China, and at one point in time, I could recite the entire poem by heart. There are opera plays, there are TV shows, countless books for children and adults. I can't think of any other traditional character who is this ubiquitous within a culture. It was the 90s. Mainland China started importing Disney animated films. Not long after I watched The Lion King, I heard stories of Disney making a Mulan film. Chinese animation was pretty much in the gutter back then. I was excited to see Mulan as a cartoon character. Spring of 1999, our elementary school trip brought us to the local cinema to see Mulan. I figured it's probably just a 1960 adaptation or something. To my surprise, a Disney logo appears on the big screen. Every kid in the theater gasped. We were ecstatic, and it was every bit as beautiful as I hoped. It's not a perfect film. It has some questionable racial depictions, although I guess the Huns aren't around anymore. And I heard people say it's a watered down version of the story. Then again, Chinese people love to say that to everything. None of that matters, because for the first time, I feel represented in a cartoon. My culture, my favorite story on the big screen. And I'm just a dude. I can't imagine how powerful it must have felt to a young girl. Mulan is unlike any other Disney female lead at the time, arguably ever. She's not born royalty nor nobility, and does not marry into one either. She's a warrior with a kill count of thousands. For a traditionally highly patriarchal country, Mulan is an important icon who not only gives girls in China an important representation, but a sense of empowerment. When Mulan defeats Shan Yu atop the palace, the entire theater of children cheered. Clearly, the film did something special. Fast forward 20 years later, a new live-action Disney Mulan came out, and it came at the perfect time. Feminism is once again a hot topic in China. News of domestic violence and gender discrimination came into focus more and more. Preference for sons over daughters is still a big issue. Those who were empowered by Mulan during their youth are currently fighting for their equality. It is the perfect time for a new generation of Mulan to inspire people. And you f***ed it up. To understand how the live-action Mulan fails, we need to see where the 1998 Mulan succeeds. The story of Mulan is set in a non-specific era of ancient China, a time when the greatest honor a woman can bring is to get married and bear children, which Mulan is terrible at. During this time, the Huns begin to attack China. To counter the offensive, China conscripts one son from each family.
The Fa family!
No.
Having no sons in the house, Mulan's father is the only one who can go. Too wrapped up in the social order, Mulan's father refuses to consider otherwise.
Right.
But if you...
I know my place. It is time you learned yours.
And with his age, he will surely die on the battlefield. To save him, Mulan decides to dress up as a man and join the army. Mulan's journey empowers women in two ways. First, by showing her capability in holding her own against men. Mulan starts off as a total amateur, but so does everyone else. We see this ragtag group of soldiers train, and in any and all relevant aspect, Mulan can keep up with men. As the other soldiers grow, so does she. Here, the film made a statement that women in any practical situation can be just as capable as any other man. Mulan learns to be masculine.
And this represents strength.
She is capable of harnessing strength and power, traits that traditionally are valued by men. But what's more interesting is the second way the film empowers women, by empowering femininity. Now, this sounds strange because at first glance, Mulan isn't very feminine. She is a tomboy and a failed bride.
You may look like a bride, but you will never bring your family honor.
But she's also not good at masculinity, being extremely awkward at pretending to be a man. That's because those are extreme versions of gender expression. Femininity means submission, masculinity means aggression. In a sense, Mulan's journey is to embrace her own gender expression. She succeeds in doing traditionally masculine tasks by refusing to engage in hypermasculinity, rejecting the value of brute strength. Instead, she is able to overcome her challenge by using clever solutions on multiple occasions. And her friends learn from her too. They start off as hyper-angry, hyper-masculine men, but by the end are willing to be in drag to save the emperor. We see both sides learn to embrace each other. Girls can be manly, and that men being girly is not necessarily a bad thing. There is strength on both sides, and there is strength in not limiting one with either extreme. Finally, it's important to realize the climax is her trying to save the emperor, and not China. It has probably an unintentional moral that Mulan's power, and by extension a woman's power, is best used to uphold the patriarchy. The storytellers at Disney probably took notice too, and to avoid that connotation, the film cleverly suggests that Mulan doesn't save the emperor out of loyalty. She merely sees the emperor as a fellow human in need of help. But more importantly, after the dust settles, the emperor offers Mulan a position in his council.
You can have his job. What?
Mulan declines, rejecting the value in upholding the patriarchy. She returns home to the only patriarch she recognizes, her father. She presents him with the sword and a medal, bringing symbolic honors to her family. What does the father do? He tosses everything aside and embraces his daughter.
The greatest gift and honor is having you for a daughter.
Breaking the final patriarchal relationship. Their love is a human one. Instead of a dragon, Mulan 2020 has a no-name phoenix that does nothing, and the CGI looks like utter crap. Maybe it wouldn't be a problem if the animators joined Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for amateurs and professionals alike. Classes include character animations, compositing, green screen, which this movie also needs some help with. All of them are available and easily accessible. Get started with this class by Remington Markham to bring your illustrations to life with Blender 3D, the same 3D animation tool used by Hollywood professionals. Classes are concise, ad-free, and affordable. Less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. For a limited time, you can use the link in my description to get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Explore your creativity, hone your skill, give Skillshare a try today. Anyway, Mulan 2020 follows largely the same basic plot. Mulan fails to be a bride, China summons its troops, father too old to fight, Mulan lives in her father's place, but with a few critical differences. Difference number 1, Mulan is now a naturally gifted fighter. This is such an awful decision. Instead of seeing Mulan growing alongside her friends, letting us know that women are as capable as men, now only the select few who are blessed by the gods have the privilege of catching up with men. Those who aren't so gifted, like Mulan's unnecessary sister character, well, she gets married at the end of the film.
I am matched.
Imagine you are a young girl with confidence issues. You watched Mulan 2020, then you go back to school and see other girls who are prettier than you, who are better at sports than you. Instead of saying you are just as capable with enough perseverance, no, they are Mulan, and you are just the sister now. Sorry, not everyone is special. Difference number 2. In the animation, Mulan is a problem solver. Mulan finds her way to the top using her wit instead of brute strength. And I have to emphasize this, she's the only one to make it. Mulan is able to solve this problem because she can think outside the box, without indulging in hypermasculinity where strength and brute force are valued. In context, the hypermasculine idea of strength is and will always be only achievable by the few. Not everyone will make it. Mulan's success is a statement that there is value outside of the hypermasculine way of thinking. The live-action version of this scene has Mulan climbing the mountain with 2 buckets of water. How does she solve this problem? Mulan simply does the manly thing better than men, through sheer strength and willpower. To hammer this home further, Mulan kills the villain by using his weapon, a weapon traditionally associated with men. On the surface, it appears progressive, that men and women are not so different. But when carefully examined, it is indulging in the traditional masculine value of strength, and that a woman is good only if she can man up. Mulan's experience and perspective as a woman is not valued. If anything, her gender is a hindrance. So instead of her teaching her friends to break free from hypermasculinity, she just doesn't. The only lesson she learns in the film is to not hide her true identity and her naturally gifted power.
Then you will die, pretending to be something you're not.
Bitch, she has to hide her gender to save her family. These two themes don't go well together. But what angers me the most is the third critical difference. The reason Mulan wanting to save the Emperor.
I know my place. And it is my duty to fight for the kingdom and protect the Emperor.
I know my place. It is time you learned yours.
I know my place. And it is my duty to fight for the kingdom and protect the Emperor.
Look at her submissiveness standing next to the Emperor. Her fight is to literally uphold the conservative hierarchy, because in her story, she's treated fine as a woman, or at least so she thinks.
You would believe Hua Jun. Why do you not believe Hua Mulan?
This conservative value of loyalty and honor is something that the people of China have abandoned and detest ever since the collapse of the feudal system. We have a word for that.
And what is this 4th virtue I see?
Read it aloud, Mulan.
Devotion to family.
It's called Yu Fu. Mulan doesn't challenge the status quo.
You can still take the noble path.
She is the status quo, perpetuating the notion that just because one supernaturally gifted woman is respected, then all women are respected. Gender equality achieved. Like the animated film, Mulan returns home to meet her father, and that emotional moment where the father abandons his symbol of honor is gone. Instead, their reunion is short and bland. That's because their reunion is not the final ending. Next, the Emperor sends a gift to Mulan, a sword symbolic of her bringing honor to her family. This reward is played up much bigger than her lesson about being who she is or loving who she loves. And once again, she's invited to work for the Emperor.
To join our greatest decorated warriors as an officer and the Emperor's guard.
Does she accept the job? The film ends before she gives an answer, but with her smile, the answer is probably yes. What a load of bullshit. Now, the perceptive among you are probably already reading deep into this, and think there are some kinds of Chinese propaganda in this film, which I don't really want to get into, because I don't think that's the case. That would be giving this movie too much credit. Mulan 2020 isn't malicious, it's just stupid, and it doesn't give a flying f***. It only wants to appear diverse and inclusive. It has 4 writers, not one of them is Asian, let alone Chinese. Its dialogue sounds like a white person's oriental fetish.
I already told you cannot eat. It will ruin your makeup. The fiercest winter storm could not destroy this makeup.
It only wants to appear emotional. Mulan fails to be a bride, no singing reflection, no contemplating her failure, no father-daughter bonding moment. The moment she steps out of the classroom, the minister is already there summoning the men to war. When Mulan leaves, this is how Mulan's father reacts in the animation. This is how Mulan's father reacts in live action. It only wants to appear empowering through the laziest ways. Mulan is just naturally better than anyone. Only some gifted girls are special. The not so special girls should be happy being fitted into traditional gender roles, get married and bear a child.
I am matched.
And finally, it only wants to appear Chinese. It makes no attempt at understanding or deconstructing Chinese culture. It mixes up the Chinese phoenix myth with the Egyptian myth.
Some say the phoenix is consumed by flame.
It sings praises to the Western understanding of Chinese conservative value, failing to realize many of these values have since been abandoned by Chinese people. It just wants to look Chinese enough to fool the audience. And the sad thing is, it's probably going to work. As I said, China needs Mulan right now. Instead, all we got is a big budget virtue signaling. Nothing signals that more than this moment.
Black Queen and I rode alongside, 2 rabbits running side by side. I think one was a male, one was a female.
Mulan's dialogue here is a reference to the Ballad of Mulan. It takes one of the most iconic and powerful lines from the poem and turns it into a throwaway fan service moment. In the ballad, Mulan went to war for an astonishing 10 years and was promoted by 12 ranks. No one ever found out she was a woman. She was that much of a badass. In the poem, she also rejects a governing position and chooses to return home. It was only when her fellow soldiers come to visit and see her in a dress wearing makeup do they realize the truth. Confounded, they ask her why they never realized she's a girl. To which Mulan replies, "The male hare's feet goes hop and skip. The female hare's eyes are mottled and fuddled. But when 2 hares running side by side, how can you tell the female from male?" Mulan's answer was poignant. Men and women may look different, but when living amongst each other, when fighting beside each other, what difference do the differences make?